send it to you and let me read it for you for the benefit of our listeners. I received this from Dr. Abdul Ganiu, Head Corporate Affairs NIA. Now, based on the figures you put across, you are saying that people who are qualified to register now is 19.9, if I got it right. Now, their statistics as of 3rd August. So look at the date, 3rd August. They have registered 17,138,609, and they have issued out 16,567,460. So if you look at these figures, then technically we are left with about 2.8 million to get their cards. And the NDA registration is continuous. So it's not that they have finished, it's not static, it's continuous. And we are also rolling out continuous registration. So it means that while we have 2 years to finish the registration for the 2024 election, they are also continuously registering Ghanaians. So if you put the figures down, we are talking of about 2.7. So are we saying that they cannot use 2 years to register 2.7? So we are of the view that to establish the identity of Ghanaians and their ages, so that our district officers will not become battlegrounds. Then let's go by the acceptable way that come with their voter ID card. So that when you come and no party is there, even your Ghana card is an evidence. And again, if you come with a Ghana card, it does not mean that you cannot be challenged. So it is possible that some people might have also acquired the Ghana card through fraudulent means. If anybody knows that, they can still challenge them. So we want to establish this, so that we can have smooth registration, that is a continuous one. Again, initially, there was this argument that we were going to compile new voters register. I want to state it here emphatically, that this is for only those who have not registered. So we are not talking of new voters registration. It's for those who have not registered.
Right.
And by the figure that we get, our interpretation is that for every year, about 450,000 people turn out 18. So that is the target per year. So since 2020, we have 2 years. Therefore, as at now, by our estimation, we have 900,000 people to register. So I don't see why we will be.
So by the time of the elections, you are looking to sort of, is it a mop-up, get an extra almost 2 million people onto the register. Is that the case?
Exactly so.
Right.
Exactly so.
And when do you plan to end the registration process, even though what you are seeking to kick in now is continuous registration? When will it end so that someone may not have the opportunity to register after that point?
Thank you. Now, if you look, somebody quoted Tenadi issue. The Tenadi issue was about not being allowed to register because we said you have finished registration. It's not about identity. So with the continuous registration, that issue is cured. Then again, the law.
So please clarify this for me. That once the window of continuous registration or the regime of continuous registration sets in, there will not be a deadline for people who want to register to get a voter's ID. Is that it?
Yes, you are right. But the law says that by you register less than 60 days to an election,
okay,
then you'll be registered, all right, but your name will not be included in that particular election, because we need the figures to plan. We need the figures to print.
On that basis, do you have the assurance from the NIA that some 2 million, a little over 2 million that is left to be registered for the NIA card, they will be able to finish that?
According to them, by the end of this year, they would have cleared them. Because if you look at 2022 years ago, they had registered around 6 million. And now it's 17. For 2 years, they have registered about 11 million. So clearly, even though they may not be going the way we want it, they are going. And NIA is doing continuous registration.
Right.
We also want to do continuous registration.
There's 17 million who have registered, and there's 16.5 million who have their ID cards. Do you have an idea what number of that constitute foreigners who are not entitled to participate in our elections?
I don't have those figures, but the foreign account to them, they are insignificant figure. So I have not requested for those figures. Because according to them, everybody they want to register is around the 19 point now, approximately 20 million.
The main reason you are not susceptible to the proposal for other forms of identification is to cure non-Ghanaians finding themselves on the register. Is that it?
You're 100% right. And see, it's something. The political parties, everybody in Ghana knows what I'm talking about. That every time our residence centers become battleground, and there's no reason apart from accusing each other of raising non-Ghanaians or raising minors. That's the reason why. So if you're not able to cure that, then we are transferring the battle from the polling station to our offices. And that is what we want to cure.
So eventually, if Parliament does not agree to your proposal and brings in other sources of identification, how will you feel about it?
We will feel bad, but everybody will get to know when the relatives dawn on us. Because what we want to avoid, if Parliament does not agree and we go to the final, you see the signs, then you say that probably if we are listening to the Electoral Commission, we would have avoided. But let's check from history. Let's check from history. There is the parties who will be accusing each other, not the Electoral Commission. They will come and even accuse the Electoral Commission of perpetuating or facilitating the registration of minors and foreigners.
Are you amenable to giving yourselves a last opportunity to use the system as it persists, at least for the 2024 elections, so that other sources of identification will be included?
I mean, something. We want to avoid the fight. We want to avoid post-registration, tedious screening and the rest. So for us, and we are convinced that based on the record, where they have, the 70 million were registered from 2018. So we are talking about 4 years. So if they are able to register 17 million within 4 years, why can't they register the other figures within 2 years?
Okay.
So half of 17 million is about 8.5. And we are talking of 2 million.
How many people do we have on the register, the electoral roll?
17.0 something. So approximately 17 million.
So if you were able to take care of the problems of 17 million on the register, and you are looking to take care of the problems of 2 million that will come on, what's the issue? What's the problem? That should be easy for you to do.
We can do that. But I read that the conflict led to even loss of life and other things. And one person dying, you can't cure it. Just one.
Okay.
Nobody should lose a strap of hair because of elections. So there are issues that we want to address. No, we should, and the issue, as Professor Quaicoe said, is about mistrust.
Okay.
Because if you trust that the right thing will be done, all these things should not be coming up.
Let me